of October, and today on the show, we gonna talk about Arsenal in all their glory, to say the least. We're gonna talk about Arsenal. Can they win the league? Can Arteta win anything, to be honest, with Arsenal? Is Gabriel actually world class? Is he one of the best defenders in the world? And all that good stuff. And of course, one of the biggest things that are circulating right about now in the socials, right? Are Arsenal scary? Because that is one of those things. People, again, are starting to suggest that Arsenal are scary, scintillating, dangerous, and all this stuff. Let's see. Let's talk about this. Give me a sec. Let's see. Let's talk about the fact that Arsenal again are scary, scintillating, dangerous, and all that stuff, because this is again circulating in the Arsenal's fan base and everything that comes with it, to say the least. So we're gonna talk about all that. So smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new around here, and of course, don't forget to leave your thoughts down the live chat regarding Arsenal. Are we scary? Is Gabriel world class? Will we win a trophy this season? And I don't mean like FA Cup or Carabao Cup. Obviously, I want to win those. But we are talking the majors. We are talking the majors. Champions League, Premier League, and that good stuff, of course. Big up, Mubarak. Hope you're doing well today. Hope you're doing well. No, any team can ask for... Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing. Not any... Like, Arsenal are in this way, in this situation that... It is tough to play us. Like, let's be real. And yes, we struggle at times. We still do. But at the moment, I know it's just going off one-off game and everything, but there is some hope. Obviously, there is some hope. Let's just put it that way. Of course, Liverpool, Man City games are the ones that cause the most pain, because both of those games were winnable. And arguably, we should be 8 games, 8 wins. Let's just put it that way. But still, there are some hopes. There are some positive signs, to say the least. And especially after the Atletico Madrid game, it gives that extra lift. It gives that encouragement that Arsenal maybe can do something, because no matter how you look at it, playing against Atletico Madrid is no piece of cake, first of all. Second of all, to win against them 4-0 as well, it's a very, very, very tough task. No matter you want to admit it or don't want to admit it, let's be real. I'm not going to joke about that around. So definitely, there is this question mark regarding Arsenal, because every single year for the last few years, there are expectations. Expectations to win, to succeed, to get silverware, to lift trophies. And so far, we have fallen short. That is one of the biggest things. And the biggest question mark regarding all of this, of course, is the manager, because we haven't gone over the line in terms of big trophies, and with his squad he has just gone, we haven't gotten over line at all. So that is still up in the air, and that is the biggest question mark. Can he learn from his mistakes? Has he finally learned from his mistakes? And will we actually do something with it? Of course, big up Mubarak. Big up Andrew. Not really, there's no concrete evidence, exactly. There is no concrete evidence overall. However, there is some evidence. Obviously. There is some evidence that we could go for it. We definitely could go for it, because so far conceding only 3 goals, let's be real, like, it's definitely a good sign. However, there is this thing about Arsenal, which is one of the biggest PTSDs that Arsenal are giving me, because we know this from previous years, from previous experiences, that there is a drop-off at Arsenal. Obviously, it comes with every team. That goes without saying. But for Arsenal, this drop-off comes at the most important time of the season, or at the most important situations, which still is the biggest thing. There are some strong arguments. Exactly. There are. But then again, he should be winning something. If the arguments are there, he should do that, because he preaches that we should be winning. We are going to win, not to say, but genuinely. So let's just hope. I think this current Arsenal is better than Invincible. First things first, Invincible, not Invisible, because Invisible, you cannot see me. That's Ozil and John Cena, but I get what you mean. Invincible, 100%. But this team is not better than the Invincibles. If this team is better than the Invincibles, how comes we lost to Liverpool? That already is saying it wrong. Let's just put it that way. Because if this team is better than the Invincibles, we should not be losing a single game this season in Premier League. And we already have lost one. So we'll see how that goes. But so far, only 3 goals conceded in 8 games. That definitely is a very positive sign. A very, very positive sign for our defense and for our team in general. Big up Marlon. I assume this is Marlon because YouTube has this thing. See, Marlon is top up Jay. Big up Jay. Big up. Invisible, you mean? Skulachi, Danielson. Yeah, all of them. Yeah, exactly. Big up Mabas. Arsenal are scary. They are like the Chelsea team that gave up 15 goals according to Top Gunners. Exactly. That is one of the biggest reasons I have this title right now. Because I saw this already after game week 3 or game week 4, something like that, just before we played Liverpool, I think it was. I saw some Arsenal fans saying that Arsenal are going to beat the Liverpool's defensive record squad when Liverpool only conceded 15 goals. That's a very bold statement only for a few games in, but if we actually do that, that would be insane. The thing is, though, if we do that, right, and win nothing, that record, as impressive as it is, let's be real, again, means nothing. Because if the game's finish 0-0 and you don't win the game, it means at the end of the day, nothing. You need wins to win the games. You need the wins to get the points. You win the wins to win the league. You need to keep on winning. And so far, Arsenal have started in a very encouraging way this season. I'm not going to lie. Despite the loss and draw and everything, quite a few subpar performances, the fact that we are first, it's a good sign. I'm not going to lie, it is a good sign. Obviously, this weekend we play against Palace. That's going to be a rough one. Without shadow of a doubt, no matter how you look at it. Glasner is a good coach and everything. We're going to look at that a bit later on. We're going to look at that not a bit later on, but I think tomorrow or day after tomorrow on Saturday, right? But overall, yeah, it's a very interesting thing to have. Arsenal are scary to some extent, but they need to prove it by winning something. That is the biggest thing. And the other thing is Gabriel world class? Because for me personally, Gabriel, despite the fact that he hasn't won anything, which is obviously one of my metrics, how you define a world-class player, you need to win stuff, you need some merits behind your name. He is world-class. Yes, he hasn't won stuff, but the way he's playing, the style he's playing, he is one of the best center backs in the world. Top 3 center backs in the world. He's better than Saliba, for me personally. That's the thing. For me, Gabriel makes Saliba look as good as he looks, personally. That's just my opinion. Yeah, Cena retired, but age and everything and the health issues, it comes with time. At least we had that top star match. AJ Styles match again with the finishers and everything was nuts. That was a very nice match. Definitely, that was a very nice match. Don't gonna lie, 100%. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do with the Seth Rollins situation and everything. They split up the vision and all this stuff. I don't know how that's gonna develop, but hey, time only will tell. I am a broken record, but I'll legit take my red pill and put on Morpheus glasses if we get 3 points and clean sheet versus Palace. For me, that's one of main obstacles in upcoming games. So for you at the Emirates, playing against Palace is much, much more harder than playing, let's just say, Burnley at Turf Moor, where they're going to park the bus. So that's what you're suggesting, at the moment at least, from these games. I rate Crystal Palace above Bournemouth, Chelsea, Tottenham, and Brighton, which I'm really wary about. And that's the biggest thing. You rate Crystal Palace over all those teams, right? But we lost to Bournemouth last year. We lost to Brighton last year. Well, we drew against Brighton. Yeah, we drew against Brighton. We might lose them in the cup. Who knows? Next week, during the week, we played them in the cup. Let's see how that goes as well, because that also is not a given. Let's be real. Some Gunners have Arteta AI system in those cores, then that would say anything makes their glorious king look good. Well, technically. Big up most wanted. Big up most wanted. By the way, I'm just putting this out. You see your ads by your names, right? This YouTube thing that they're doing is very confusing. Because if you don't know the person by the profile image or something like that, it's hella long. Big Gubby is a beast, better than Saliba. Yes. For me, yes. For me, yes. For me, it's more important to keep actually Gabriel than Saliba. Because again, I will reiterate this because I've been saying this for over a year now, year and a half to be honest, that replacing Saliba for Arsenal would be easier than replacing Gabriel Magalhaes, without shadow of a doubt. Gabriel is him. Yeah, both ends on the pitch, exactly. Big up Hendon. Big up Hendon Gunner. Hope you're doing well today, my bro. Hope everything is well. Hope everything's fine with you as well. I barely knew Saliba was playing against Atletico. To be honest, that's a good thing as well. because that just shows how good we were defensively. Yes, he made one good tackle, two good tackles. Defensively, we didn't have to do much, although they were very threatening on the counters. They had a few good chances, but overall, that's the thing. When you don't see ref during the game, when you don't notice him, that means that the game is going well and the ref is doing his job properly. If you don't see defenders, that means your defense is playing well. You don't need to make tackles. You are controlling the game. If you don't see your attackers, well, you're screwed because you are not scoring. Not gonna lie, I have no idea who that is. Gatti. Big up Gatti. Big up Gatti. Gabriel is the best center back right now in Europe and England. I would go as far and say that. I would definitely go as far and say that. 100%. 100%. Gabriel is good, very good, but he ain't world class. That's banded about the two Cleveland. Yeah, I get it. I get it. For me, Gabriel would be cemented world class player if he wins Premier League or Champions League. Right? If he wins one of those, he is by default becomes for me world class. The nuts part is he is performing like a world class player, at least on the pitch already, despite winning anything. Like that for me is the biggest thing. I would say he is a bit underrated. People more focus these days on him scoring goals from corners than defensive work, but he's one of those old school type of defenders for me who doesn't mind getting his fingers dirty. Like he has a rough tackle, shithousery and everything. Very decent on the pace as well, and to some extent. So definitely for me, he has all the attributes to be world class. Let's just put it that way. Big Gabi always making him look good. Same with Calafiori, Gabi. And that was the case. Gabriel was doing the same with Zinchenko, wasn't he? He was covering two bases and many times. So definitely Gabriel for me is that standout. I'm watching you from Poland. Big up Poland, and big up Warsaw. Big up Warsaw. Did you lose today? I think Legia played against... Who did Legia play against? I know they're playing. I know Legia are playing today. Who they are playing against? Where is it? Where is it? Braga, Bran, Bologna, Panathinaikos, Freiburg, Utrecht, Legia. I know that Legia is playing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. You won against Shakhtar Donetsk. Big up to you all. Big up to you all. You won against Shakhtar Donetsk. Big up to you. Big up to Legia. Big up to Legia. 100% without shadow of a doubt. Big up to you all. Crystal Palace smoked us 3-0 at Emirates before Glasner and like Crystal Palace. Oh, Nottingham has a penalty. Hey, Nottingham has a penalty against what's its face against Porto. Victoria Pilsen about to score against Rome as well. The Europa League games are kicking off right now. Crystal Palace is definitely going to be a very tough task, to say the least. We barely can score against Brighton, to be honest. Our goal output on Brighton, Bournemouth, and Fulham is terrible. Yeah, but we still, well, at least this season, we can be in Fulham. If we also, our goal output against Newcastle isn't the greatest at the St. James's, to some extent, the last few years, but we did it. So overall, if we can manage to turn the games we lost or drew last year into wins, there's a very big, strong argument to be made that we can win the league. But that only happens if we pick up 3 points consistently, we keep on winning, and we turn at least 10 of last year's draws into wins out of the 14. I just put it that way. Other teams have more goal output against them. I'm not gonna lie, as long as we get 3 points on the board, I'm happy. Right? Let's be real, it's not gonna put me away, and it's not gonna stop me from, let's just say, criticizing the performance, the everything, but we still got the 3 points on the board, which at the end of the day is the most important thing. I'm gonna be super happy about that, right? So ultimately, I don't care if we win every game 2-0, 1-0, 2-1, as long as we get the 3 points on the board. Because the more wins we get, the closer we are to lifting the trophy and seeing the armpits at the end of the season. It's just my opinion, but those mentioned teams aren't very locked in. Crystal Palace has a good system and defense, and Mateta scores versus... Yeah, but against us just for fun. Yeah, one of the teams that scored twice last season too. Exactly. It will be interesting to see. Will be definitely interesting to see how that develops. And 1-0 Forest. Morgan Gibbs-White has scored a penalty, by the way. Nottingham Forest are beating Porto. Sean Dyche off to a flying start in the first few minutes, in Europa League at least. Penalty to Forest. Yeah, they scored. And against Wolves, we barely can score against those teams. We will see. That's the biggest thing. Against smaller teams, they are more defensive. They park the bus more against us. Against bigger teams, obviously you have the quality, but the big teams does not have the luxury to sit back against us. because every fan, everyone expects them to win. Against smaller teams, you can park the bus, you can sit back, you can try to nullify us. If you get a corner, if you get a counter, good for them. If they score, the roof just flies off the top. But overall, yeah, and smaller teams, that's the biggest issue. Big up, Darren. Big up, Darren. Hope you're doing well today, my guy. Hope you're doing well. 1-0 to the Forest. Yeah, Morgan Gibbs White scores the penalty. Exactly. Exactly. What is happening in Roma, people? Anyone can explain me this? Because I'm going to share this right now as I'm live, right? What is happening in Roma at the moment? Roma are losing 2-0 to Victoria Pilsen. What is happening there? Can anyone explain me this? They have scored 2 goals in 3 minutes. Roma are falling apart, low-key, at least for now. What's the Roma's 11? Svilar, Ziolkovsky, Mancini, Hermoso, Wesley, Ainawi, interesting, Kone, Celik, Sule, Dybala, and Dovbik. Should be a winning team, to be honest. Should be a winning team. Celta Vigo versus Nice, 1-1. Sturm Graz against Celtic, 1-0 Sturm Graz. Horvat has scored. Nice. We're going to look at some results at the moment. Panathinaikos beating Feyenoord and Robin van Persie 1-0. Freiburg are 1-0 up against Utrecht. Lille are losing 2-0 to another Greek team, PAOK. That is interesting. I'm not going to lie. That is very interesting, to say the least. Forest obviously 1-0 up. What's happening in Conference League? Rijeka, Sparta Prague, Crystal Palace still 0-0. Lausanne against Hamrun still 0-0. Lech Poznan still. Mainz have scored. Samsun Spor scored against Dynamo Kiev, and that's about it. Like, these Europa League games are actually look quite entertaining. Let's just put it that way, people. Those Europa League games look quite entertaining, to say the least. But ultimately, yeah, it's very interesting how that's gonna go and everything. The Europa League, they were falling apart for a while. That Pinocchio Dovbik made a blunder going there. Funny enough, I think it was his wife that insisted on the move. I don't know. But to be honest, last summer I wanted him at Arsenal. I wouldn't have said no to him. Might have been too soon, maybe. Obviously, he's not the youngest. I think Dovbik is 27 or 28, isn't it? Like, yeah, Dovbik is 28. That is the nuts part. Dovbik is 28. Like, that one breakout season in La Liga, being the top goal scorer in Girona, who were playing phenomenal football, to say the least, at the time. I guess it has a lot of power. Roma is truly unrecognizable. It feels that way. Obviously, they have Gasperini as the manager. They were looking somewhat decent, but at least for now, they look very out of sorts. Very out of sorts, which is quite insane to think about, to be fair. Quite insane, because I didn't expect them being 2-0 down instantly. By the way, do your FPL team before Friday evening deadline. There's a Premier League match on Friday. Yeah, Leeds versus Ham. I need to do the FPL as well. I haven't changed anything. I think I'm going to do it tomorrow morning. Need to figure out which player to swap out and who from the bench to put in the squad. It also is going to be very, very interesting how that's going to happen. And yeah, people, hit the like button, folks. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done that as well. But okay, up for debate, people. Up for debate. Is Arsenal going to win a trophy this season? Will Arteta finally win a trophy at Arsenal after 6-year drought and spending 1 billion? Is that going to happen this season? Serious talk. Is that going to happen? And preferably, I would also want to know why. And I don't want to see this simple answer because we have Arteta as the manager as well. I would love to see some more in-depth answer. Let's just put it that way. Because you all know my stance on this. But at the moment, I'm still keeping things quiet. I said at the beginning of the season that we are not going to win anything. Obviously, right now, it looks very promising. It looks hopeful. Let's just put it that way. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm keeping my cards close to my chest in terms of the predictions and the hopium and copium. Let's just put it that way. But overall, what are your thoughts? Because obviously, at the moment, it's very early to talk about this because we don't know what's going to happen in a month, what type of injuries might happen in a month, what teams are going to kick into gear. Maybe Arsenal are going to kick into gear, or Arsenal are just going to go in a spiral and go just downwards. That is the big thing. No, I get it. Who do you think will have a surprise finish in the top 8 this season in Premier League? Like, I don't know. It's very hard to say it's a surprise when most of the teams when very, very many teams, quite a few teams can do it. But I would say top 8 finish out of the unexpected ones. And this will sound very weird. But I'm going to say Manchester United. I know it sounds very nuts and very preposterous, but based on Man United in the last few seasons, you wouldn't think that they could get in the top 8 very soon. But I think it could be Manchester United. Let's just put it that way. We are still Moments FC. Yeah, that is the one drawback to everything, which I cannot help to shake the feeling off of. That's why I'm keeping my cards close to my chest and I'm being very reserved about this. Because that one game that just happened against Atletico Madrid, fantastic. If it doesn't translate and we don't do the same thing and improve on that for Premier League, for Carabao Cup, for FA Cup, and going forwards, well, it means nothing. We're going to be that Moments FC at the end of the day. So the hope is that we can build on this. That is the biggest thing. And until I see this on somewhat, let's just say 5 to 10 games in a row, this type of style, system, domination to some extent, like, I'm not going to get too excited. It's early to talk about that. We can return to discussion on January. Oh, we will, definitely. We're going to discuss it throughout the whole year without shadow of a doubt. From the new teams, because Sunderland are pretty good. I think Sunderland are going to stay up. Leeds will be in the battle for going down, staying up. They will be just on the brink. They might not. And for me, Burnley are definitely going down. From the Premier League teams, I think West Ham and Wolves are the top favorites to going down unless they figure stuff out. It can easily fall apart in a snap. Exactly. That is the one thing. It can easily fall apart. And we have seen that under pressure, this team and this manager folds like a piece of paper. And that is still one of the biggest things, because you can talk in interviews, in press conferences as much as you want about the pressure, about the privilege being under the pressure, about the mentality, the unity, the family, and all this stuff. But until that gets proven on the pitch, it means nothing. Actions at the end of the day speak louder than words. And so far, the actions have been kind of lackluster. Let's just put it that way, to say the least. Kind of been quite lackluster. Yes, we will have. Yes, we will. We have the squad to compete and win. Yeah, we do have the squad to compete and win. The question is, will we? Will we win? Because last year as well, you could argue we had a squad to compete and win. We didn't. So this year, given that players we have signed, the bench, and if everyone's not injured, let's just put it that way, there are no excuses not to win anything. Obviously, we don't know. It might just happen like randomly, right? Out of nowhere, bang. Saliba, Gabriel get injured both, right? What are we going to do then? Yes, Mosquera, Hincapié, for example. But it's not Gabriel and Saliba. So what's going to happen then with Arsenal? Let's just say Rice and Zubimendi at the same time are injured. Oh, what? Norgard, Merino, midfield? Oh, God, help us all. Like, that's the biggest thing with Arsenal. Despite technically having the depth, with having the squad, there are specific positions in the team that are one injury away from going down the drain real goddamn quick. That is one of the biggest worries for me as well, if we are looking from that perspective, per se. And do you think Spurs will make top 4 this season, or do you think Man United come back? I don't think Man United are going to make top 4. I think Man United are candidates for top 8 this season. Spurs making top 4, it's a 50-50. I think that the 4th to like 7th or 6th place are going to be quite close. And I think Spurs will be in one of those spots. At least I expect them to be. I mean, I can see us losing to Brighton in the Carabao Cup. It's that whirlpool for us. And if we do that, again, everyone's going to forget the the Champions League great performance, it's going to go down the drain real quick. The fan base is going to be in completely different mood. As much as some Arsenal fans will want to basically paint a picture that, oh, it's a small trophy and everything, we have bigger fish to fry and all this crap, it's not going to be true. Because that will be another trophy down the drain, because once again, we somehow managed to shoot ourselves in the foot and screw it all up. Like, that's how I'm going to see it. That's how I will see it, and that's how I'm going to see it at the end of the day. Hey, man, don't wish that we can't afford to lose against City. Liverpool are on us. We need to have at least 6 to 9 points lead over them. We can't lose more than 5 matches. It will cook us. Exactly. For me, the most important thing based on last season is the 14 draws. If of those 14 draws, we can make 9 or 10 of those draws into wins, provided the rest of the draws and losses stay the same, that adds 27 or 30 points to our last year's point tally, which should be more than enough, I think, getting 90 plus points. Well, let's just say 94 to 99 points. We in that bracket should be enough for us to win the league. It should be enough. But obviously, we have seen some weirder things happen, obviously, so we cannot take that for granted whatsoever. But that should give us at least 95% chance to winning the league. Mainly Arteta and him overplaying Saka, and he gets injured. He says injuries is excused. Then when Madueke comes back, but he will play left wing and not play Saka left wing. Like, it will be interesting to see if we come to a point where everyone is back and we, let's just say, have no injuries or a minor one to like Norgard, right? It will be interesting to see how Mikel Arteta manages that and what players where he manages to play them. That will be the most important and most interesting thing to see, because this squad needs rotation. This team is made for winning something. So time will only tell. Let's just put it that way. If he can't handle the heat and the pressure, what he's doing here. Exactly. If you cannot handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. AFTV's fault, goddammit, putting their bad juju on the team. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. I don't pay too much attention to them. I'm not gonna lie. I used to watch them a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to watch them a lot, but that was from the days when they had Claude, when they had Troops, DT, when they had those type of guys, right? Obviously, in recent times, I was watching them much, much less, but I still was watching them. They had Turkish, Curtis, Dan Potts, and people like that. But now that everyone's leaving and everything, like I just can't personally. And obviously, they are continuing certain shows that were, for example, a Turkish show, the Forever and everything. They kind of are continuing it with Curtis, right? And to be honest, I only watch it because of Curtis, personally. Because listening to the others waffle about certain things where they try to play the devil's advocate and everything is just no. I cannot listen to that. And it feels like I'm losing brain cells to some extent. Since AFTV got mentioned, funny how the Forever Arsenal podcast changed with Turkish and James out, but suddenly Fraudy jumped in. I thought they just ended it. Like it's all over the place because. Let me check this. The last Forever Arsenal show, right? Where is it? AFTV. AFTV. Who was in Forever Arsenal show, right? Let me check this real goddamn quick. Videos. So, the Forever Arsenal show, it had Lee judges, Robbie, Curtis, and whoever that guy is. He looks like, I don't know, Timu version of Cal Freezy or something like that, right? Yeah, I can watch it only because of Curtis and listen mostly to Curtis, right? Like, Lee Judges is such a flip-flop for me. Robbie, just don't get me started. And that guy, I don't know who that is even. On that podcast was the only thing I watched from ATV, and I probably won't watch it anymore. Curtis or no Curtis, exact. Yeah, it's such a shame, right? It's such a shame. Also, a bit feels like Curtis on his own channel. Obviously, is a bit different type of Curtis because he doesn't have the. I don't want to say censorship per se, but it kind of feels that way. But it's very nice to see, for example, Turkish on his own channel expanding it, giving it a new podcast and everything going on with it. And getting some people on, like, that is actually nice to see that Turkish can focus on himself and his own channel besides the big six. But yeah, it's nuts. It is kind of nuts. But overall, if you look at it, like, For example, like what's its face? Christian, right? That guy. He said that we are the best team in Europe. No, we're not. Like I cannot say that at the moment. We need to win something to be the best team in the Europe, for example. Like there are lots of these things. Like I don't know, do they do it for the clicks, what they do it for? But hey, I'm not here to judge. I noticed Josh Kroenke at the Fulham away game. I never saw Kroenke's coming to away games. Josh cares a bit, I think. That was a time. I think that was more influenced by the fact that few days later, or the next day, I think it was on Sunday, there was an NFL game in the Spurs stadium, and I think Kroenke's team played in the Spurs stadium. I think that was that. It was in the Spurs stadium, 2025 NFL games. I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was. That's why Josh was in that game as well, because one of his teams was playing there. Let me check this quickly. October. Yeah, because on October 19th, LA Rams played Jacksonville Jaguars at the Spurs Stadium. Hence why Josh Kroenke was there. Because next day he had to attend his LA Rams game at the Spurs Stadium. That's why he was there. That's why he was there. That's why he was in that game. Just checked it. Like, I know it's a weird thing, but I'm checking Lausanne's game. I'm checking Lausanne play against Hamrun, whatever that is, in Conference League, because Butler Oyedeji is playing there, obviously. And I want to see how Butler Oyedeji does for Lausanne as well. Very interesting to see how our players play once they have gone rid of away from Arteta. Let's just put it that way. I tend to follow some of those players. Curtis won't last there. He will be constantly immune and leveled down in his opinions. Kind of strange how he signed up for the Lyle Incomparate first in the Labyrinth Cecil now is forever. But it's interesting. I get it as well, because to some extent, at the same time, well, it is what it is, no matter how you look at it. Personally, for me, it would be very hard for me to sign to something like that, right? Because I'm not one of those people who likes to be basically his opinions diminished and basically being minusculed just because he has a different opinion in those terms. Because it's basically one against the world when you go on those, unless you have some more level-headed panels like Dan Potts tends to do. Like he has it, like just say D and Igal, and then he has obviously, for example, DJB and Aaron on, right? And the Potts is just a mediator between all them four, right? You need a somewhat balanced panel, and unfortunately, all of these, it's one of those that is quite critical or more critical, like Curtis, and the rest of them are just, well, happy clappers. What is it with Ukrainian teams this game week? Can't qualify for Champions League or Europa League, can't even get a sniff in the Conference League. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It's a weird one. I'm more surprised that, for example, Crystal Palace still hasn't scored. I'm quite surprised about that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of surprised you're losing to Samsun Spor. Genuinely, Dynamo Kiev losing 2-0 already. That is kind of a weird one. I'm not gonna lie, but hey, I guess it is what it is at the end of the day. Big up AFC always. Big up AFC always. Hope you're doing well. Hope the recovery is going well. Hope all is good with you. People, hopefully all with you. Good AFC always. Like and subscribe, people, as well, if you haven't already. Samsung Tech. Basically, something like that. Barely can pronounce that name. Like Samsung Sport. Like those names. Oh, Nice has a red card. Damn. Red cards also in Europa League happening. Klaus got a red card in span of 9 minutes. Like that, you have to know how to do these things, to be honest. But yeah, people, how's everyone doing as well today? Do you think Arsenal are going to win the league? Like, are Arsenal scary? That's a more important question. Do you think Arsenal are scary? Let's just put it that way. Do you think Arsenal are scary? Is anyone scared of Arsenal? Do you think this win against Atletico is sending some sort of a message through the Europe and also to Premier League, because that was definitely a statement win. You cannot deny that. When you look at AFTV, it's just a job like any other job. Guys get paid to work there. Opinion or no opinion, we cannot dislike someone over opinion or a platform from us. It's about money. Exactly. At the end of the day, yeah. Because you go to work as well, right? You like your work, you don't like your work, you have to pay the bills at the end of the day. And sometimes, basically, to pay the bills, you have to do stuff you don't like or you don't want to do. At the end of the day, life is pretty much 90% to some extent dealing with stuff you don't like dealing with or doing to some extent, right? And you just have to. Sometimes you just have to. Arsenal will win nothing again. Interesting. We'll see, to be honest. Next week, if we go out of Carabao Cup, it's going to be Peakham's. Big up, Godfrey. Big up, Godfrey. Hope you're doing well. If Arsenal bear Bayern Munich, then I might. Just might get excited. Exactly. That's the thing. For me, obviously, these two games against Atleti and Bayern Munich were arguably two of the most important games. Because if we win all the home games and we, let's just say, add 2 or 3 wins away, we're good. We are top 8 team and we can live happily. But if we lose, let's just say, against Bayern Munich, we have to play Inter Milan, right, as well, I think, away in Champions League. As well in Champions League, yes. Club Brugge as well, away. It's not going to be easy. Obviously, Kairat at home should be a win by default, to be honest. But the games against Bayern Munich at home, Inter away, Club Brugge away, I think Club Brugge is going to definitely throw a big challenge to us. So we needed that win against Atletico, and for us to kind of try and solidify our spot, we need to win against Bayern Munich at home as well. But Bayern Munich at the moment are on such a roll with scoring goals just for fun and everything. Like, Company has them playing like out of their skin, insanely good football. Defensively, they're vulnerable, but attack-wise, that's the different story. Not surprised also why they renewed Company's contract. Well, extended. Arsenal is scary. I'm sometimes terrified watching the snooze fest our team produces. If we didn't win, I believe in this team. They can't say about Arteta. And that's the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing, because no matter how you want to spin anything, you have to be blind. And even then, even blind will see and know that this team is good enough to win stuff. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it all comes back down to the manager. And unfortunately, we'll see what brings it this year. In the Champions League, we are not really played the powerhouse for a team. And in the league, we lost to Liverpool and Man City. Exactly. Pretty much every single big team we have played, like a massive team, right? We have lost or drawn, aka Liverpool and City. Atletico Madrid is high-end, but they are not the top anymore, right? The top, let's just say top 6, top 7. So I get it. But if we beat Bayern Munich in similar fashion like we beat Atletico Madrid, then we can start talking. Then definitely we can start talking, in my opinion, about scariness, dangerousness, and all this stuff. We need to get that honky far back and finally beat Bayern. Exactly, because our record against Bayern Munich in the last, let's just say, 7 meetings is absolutely abysmal, to say the least. It genuinely is abysmal. And just in general, not just in the last 7 games, but overall, if you look at Arsenal playing Bayern Munich, look, we have played 14 games. 3 wins, 3 draws, 8 losses, which is not great. And all have been played in 21st century as well, ironically enough. A draw, a loss, a win, a loss, a win, a loss, a draw, a win. And since that 20th October 2015, pretty much exactly 10 years ago, 10 years ago was the last time we beat Bayern Munich. How nuts is that? That's how nuts this. 10 years ago was the last time. 10 years and 3 days was the last time we beat Bayern Munich. But if you look what's happening afterwards, it is painful. 5-1, 5-1, 1-5, 2-2, 1-0. And to be honest, this one, pray for Bayern and all that crap that everyone pushed, right? These 2 games in 2-2, 1-0. We should have beaten them as well. We should have beaten them, but we just didn't. They were there for the taking. Let's just put it that way. They were there for the taking, and we just didn't take the advantage. Now, barring that, where I can't see a win, to be fair, that's where I can see them probably would eager take a draw. Yeah. If we get it, like for me personally, right? We have games still left against Slavia Prague, Bayern Munich, Club Brugge away, Inzaghi, lol, Inter Milan away, and Kairat Almaty at home. If we draw against Bayern and draw against Inter and rest of the other games are wins, I'm happy. We are top 8 team and we move on. I want to see improved performance away at Inter. We didn't go for the win last season. No, we had 56 crosses and we did nothing. True, but then players make us lose. That mainly on certain shit manager. To be honest, players play on the pitch, so they have to take some fault for that as well. The thing is, though, players also should at some point start to actually realize that this might not be it. Let us play how we want to play. Maybe that's going to be better. That is low-key shameless, low-standard mentality, but hey, still me. This team is good enough, but for not, it all comes down to Arteta. Yeah, at the end of the day, depending drops at Arteta, yeah. I want what Marino was smoking, Arteta, best manager in the world. Dude, that statement is just a nuts one, to say the least. Some stuff, some people say, sometimes it's out of this world. Because also the what's its face? How Zubimendi said, what Zubimendi said when he just signed, that sounded like Mikel Arteta to a T, as if Mikel Arteta had written the script basically for what him to say, what him to say. Sure, it all comes down. He finally stops being stubborn. Yeah, that's the hope. We're playing at the Allianz. Will be a tough game. We are playing away? Hold on. No. I'm sorry. No, most wanted. We are playing against Bayern Munich at home. We are playing them at Emirates. We are playing at the Emirates. So that must be a must win. We must beat them. We are playing at Emirates. We are playing them at Emirates without any questions asked. To be honest, look at the schedule. Look at the schedule straight after November international break, after Sunderland. Look at the schedule, those 5 games we have. Look at those 5 games we have. Spurs at home, Bayern at home, Chelsea away, Brentford at home, Aston Villa away. Like, that is not easy whatsoever. Club Brugge away, it's not going to be easy. Everton away will be question marks as well. Like, it's not looking too great, is it? If we are looking from that point of view. Definitely not looking easy. If we at home, we beat. That's the hope. We aren't. And with Kane and Elise, exactly, gives us a good chance to beat Bayern. Exactly. We couldn't even beat the dusty Bayern Munich team last time around. Yeah. And that was at the time when we were playing actually somewhat decent football. That was at the time when we were flying, as they said. Because that was at the time when we went 16, 15 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, or 16 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss in the second part of the season. That was that season. So, yeah, we like Bayern Munich. And that was the nuts thing. That was arguably the best Arsenal team in the last decade. And that was the worst Bayern Munich team in the last decade. And we could not beat them. Like that's how wild it is. And right now, Bayern Munich are in insane form. On Arsenal, technically we look good in Champions League, but we still are figuring shit out. Next 5 games are must win, to be fair, but there's also no need to go there 1 game at a time. Exactly. All the games up until the international break in November, right? Palace at home, Brighton at home in Carabao Cup, Burnley away, Sunderland away, and Slavia Prague away in Champions League. All games are must-win games. We must win all of them. Right? But we are going 1 game at a time without shadow of a doubt. Everyone worried about Liverpool. We should be looking at City. Yeah, City is like sneaky. Yeah, City are sneaking from behind quite quietly. Yes, they're second, 3 points behind, but they are a sneaky one. Definitely, there are a sneaky one in that regard. It will be interesting to see how City fare in Premier League at the moment. Smash the likes, people, and subscribe if you haven't already. Listen to AFC always. Man City scare me more than Liverpool. Currently, yes. Currently, yes. The question about Liverpool is, whoa, my camera just did a madness. Are we seeing quite a big downfall? Are we seeing like 250 million wasted? Because they bought two players for 116 and 100 and what, 30 million. Two players in Isak and Wirtz. And so far, for them in Premier League, they have done absolutely nothing. And if they don't figure stuff out, they are done for. That might be one of the biggest crash outs overall after winning the league last year. But we'll see. We definitely will see. Big up Hyper Protagonist. Big up. Hope you're doing well today, bro. Hope everything's fine with you. Okay. Europa League halftime. Let's look at some results because let's be real, at the end of the day, we talk about Arsenal and we are a football channel as well. So let's see. Roma losing to Victoria Pilsen 2-0. Vigo against Nice 1-1. Sturm Graz beating Celtic 1-0, which is obviously very nice for Sturm Graz. Feyenoord Panathinaikos 1-1. Freiburg 2-0 against Utrecht. Lille are losing to PAOK 3-0, which is quite unexpected, I'm not gonna lie. Midgetland are beating Maccabi. Malmo beating Zagreb. Nottingham Forest at the moment are beating Porto. Now, I'm just gonna go to the stats quickly. And to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, Nottingham Forest are holding their own. This is Sean Dyche's first game at the wheel, by the way. This is Sean Dyche's first game at the helm of Nottingham Forest, and so far they're doing decent. Ludogorets are drawing against Young Boys. Abandoned again. This game has been abandoned 3-4 times due to bad weather. What is happening in Iceland? Oh, sorry, in Croatia. What is happening in Croatia? What weather is happening there? Let me Google this because this game has been abandoned multiple times. It's 14 degrees. It's raining heavily at the moment. Winds. The winds 30 kph. 30 kph with strong rain. Let's see. For people who don't know what a kilometer is, right? So let's look at this. That's 18.6 miles an hour wind at the moment there. What else is happening? Palace still 0-0 against whatever that team is. Looks like a team from wherever they are from, to be honest. Greece or Cyprus or something like that. Yeah, Cyprus. What are the lineups? Mateta, Pinos, Munoz, Hughes, Lerma, Mitchell, Gehi, Lacroix, Convon, Henderson. To be honest, same 11 I expect against Arsenal. So yeah. Interesting. Lausanne beating Hamron. Why is the ham running? Ham run. Holy crap, pigs are running. Lincoln Red Imps beating Lech Poznan. What is Poland doing? Mainz beating Zrinski. Samsung Sport beating Kiev. Celje beating Shamrock Rovers. And Romanian team Craiova beating Noa FC. Obviously. At the moment, at least. That's at halftime in Europa League and Conference League, the result. We need to get Gyökeres in play more often. I believe Gyökeres can win us games like Haaland for City. Man is starving of the ball. Even Eze not supplying him, and Saka is too greedy. Yeah, Saka is too greedy. 100% in those terms. Saka is too greedy. With Eze, time will tell because Eze didn't have the greatest of games against Fulham, 100%. Had a decent game against Atletico Madrid, but also nothing spectacular. So he also needs to find his footing. Liverpool miss Alisson. He saved their asses multiple times, but they're also a major injury away to be a serious trouble. Yeah, specifically in certain positions. Let's just say if Isak gets injured, if Isak and Ekitike, or if Van Dijk and Konate go out, it could be Peakham's. Well, City, by that single Donnarumma transfer, have added 40% of their current strength, pretty much. Yeah, that Donnarumma signing for them has been a massive key. That has absolutely made it nuts. Metric system, who needs that? I mean, you can go back to your hieroglyphs, your light years, and all this stuff. Relax. Thank you. Thank you, Hendon. Thank you. But still got wood by them, and don't forget about Bournemouth. Yeah, and Brentford and all these things. As they didn't have a great game, as he wasn't getting much support from Rice and Zubendi behind him. And I think that, I think that was also a tiny bit kind of connected with the fact that, yes, we had a midfield that we expect, to some extent, we wanted to have. But I think for Rice and Zubimendi, they had tasks to be more defensive. Just because it's Atletico Madrid. Maybe against smaller teams, it could be a bit different. We'll see. And we can barely beat Brentford. We need to make statement wins this year. We definitely need to make statement wins this year without shadow of a doubt. Yeah, Saka is not helping. Eze also is not drifting to the right as much as well, just like Odegaard was doing. So we were obviously hoping for that to some extent, because we are very lopsided attacking through the right. We hope that we could attack more through the middle and the left, and with Eze we kind of get that. But right now, it feels like the team is quite off balance, and we are struggling to figure that out. That's what's bothering me as well. That's something that's bothering me as well, to be honest. Because we were quite heavily attacking through the right when Odegaard was playing, because he drifted out to the right with Saka. Right now, we don't have that. Eze is a bit more centered, so we are more balanced overall, but in the gameplay, it looks a bit more confusing because they kind of not used to that. Make Big Gubby the captain, take it off Saka. He's not a captain. Yeah. Saka definitely is not a captain. Saka can be getting the output, but he should not be the captain of Arsenal. Because so many times I have seen Saka being the captain, him going to talk to the referee, and the referee just says, well, F off. Like as if referees don't respect him. Enough for him to be the captain. Why not Gabriel or Rice? It's a big mystery to me. I agree, I love Saka, but he's not captain material. Without shadow of a doubt. Without shadow of a doubt. You can be a leader on the pitch without being the captain. You can lead the press, as people want to suggest that Odegaard does, without being the captain. Give it to someone who has the mentality of that. Well, to be fair, at least, in my opinion, flanks have a bit more breathing air now, and Gyökeres is a part of this. Yeah, 100%. Gyökeres is taking away the defender's attention from the wings and even the middle part of the pitch, where Eze or Odegaard tends to basically play. Because they cannot only now focus to shutting down Saka or something, they need to also pay extra attention to Gyökeres because they know who he is. So that is definitely helping in those terms. At the same time, it feels like the team is confused because they haven't played with the number 9. He's kind of occupying some defenders, and this prevents from doubling down. Exactly. It doesn't seem to help Martinelli much, and Trossard as a left-back CMK most of the time more than a winger. So yeah, although Martinelli's goal was fantastic against Atletico Madrid, and if he can keep this up as he was doing against Atletico Madrid, score that type of goals and keep the output coming, right? The faith in Martinelli will slowly be restored. Let's just put it that way. Will slowly be restored. Hopefully, he can keep on going. Hopefully. True, but Eze should be able to carry the ball and shoot from range and score. He can assist good too, like the assist to Nelly. We don't see Eze getting assists regularly. Yeah. The things that we saw from Skelly, what he did running between 3-4 defenders, carrying the ball, then passing it to Martinelli, who first time whipped it around the goalkeeper in the far corner. That's what Eze should be doing, not Skelly. But we don't see that as well from Eze enough. Even though at the Palace he did that quite a bit, and he shot himself. Martinelli goal was tier 100%. Thierry Henry-esque. Yes. I said that as well yesterday. It was Thierry Henry-esque. Let's just put it like that. Top Gunners say Perkinelli is back. No. One game, calma. One game doesn't mean anything after 1.5, 2 years. Eze is cruising, but will probably score against us this week. Will he celebrate? I'm more worried that Eddie Nketiah is going to score against us than Eze score against you lot. That for me is a bigger worry, but hey, I get your concerns. I don't think Eze will celebrate. He seems like a classy, respectful guy, so I don't expect him to celebrate. Big up Kev, by the way, Crystal Palace fan in the chat as well. Big up Kev. But yeah, I don't expect him to celebrate if he scores. Definitely don't. But overall, yeah, I think Arteta is misusing Eze. Eze is cruising a bit. You can tell that at least last 2-3 games. It's been a bit, something's not there. But overall, I think he's gonna be good. Do you? By the way, Kev, do you think that Arteta is misusing Eze? Because for me, it feels that way. I'm not too sure how you feel as a Crystal Palace fan who has seen him for a few years now. Let me know what you think. Yeah, Martinelli should get a bit of a boost out of these GNAs and still don't trade him, but I'm not annoyed that much at least. Yeah, but because that's part is biggest reason why, at least I am, right, annoyed with Odegaard, annoyed with Martinelli, specifically those two, is because I have seen how good they can be. And at the moment, the way they're performing for the last year or so, nowhere near they are matching the levels they showed before. That is the biggest reason, because if they performed like they did 2 years ago, they were scoring, assisting, I would have no problems. But the fact that we know how good they can be and they're performing below the standard they have set for themselves and we have seen, that is the most frustrating part. And it happens also not just a few games. It's been for very extended period of time, which makes it that much worse. Let's just put it that way. I like how Arteta is managing Martinelli, though. It looks interesting, like Trossard, Martinelli, and then them getting managed, definitely. And generally, I said this yesterday as well. I think Arteta might finally be learning from his previous mistakes. Yes, it's been only 3-4 games since we've seen that, but it might be like that. It definitely might be something like that. Better later than never, to be honest, and his ass is on the line at the moment, so he definitely needs to figure shit out on the fly right now. No Madueke or left wing, we have nothing or practically interest. Well, as they celebrating, it wasn't the donkey situation. There was some scrutiny. Yeah, I think Eze is too classy for that. I don't know. I don't want to see Trossard, that panda, in the starting 11 and bring him off the bench. And that is the nuts part. Martinelli and Trossard both are more influential of the bench. And when they start, it's not it. At least right now. Definitely it's not it. And that's why we were, not we all, but some of Arsenal fans, let's just say I can speak only for myself. I was pushing heavily with hope that we're going to sign a left winger. Unfortunately, we didn't. Gabriel should have been the number one candidate for captain. He's the most experienced, the most smart, and make it. To be honest, he's the most experienced Arsenal player. He has this. No, to be honest, Martinelli is the most experienced, I think, because we signed Martinelli before Gabriel, I think. But overall, as an Arsenal player who we have signed and who is performing to the standard on a consistent basis, who actually has shown some leadership skills to the very high level, is Gabriel. So there is a very strong argument for him to be the captain. He's playing like in a midfield pivot rather than running at the defense. Yeah. And that was one of my biggest worries when we signed him. Because if Arteta plays him in his system and he makes Eze to adjust to Arteta's system, it's not going to be good for us. But if he allows if he adjusts his system to fit Eze, it will help us. And unfortunately, that's one of the biggest issues with Arteta for me, is the fact that he adjusts the player to fit his system, not adjust the system to fit the player. And I think that is why we see decline in certain players. And it's a big, big worry. But y'all, actually, Bergnelli is going to score all the chances Saka may score, but do y'all trust Nelly to score the chances that are there since Gyökeres is the most marked? I hope so. If we address this left wing position, we won't be talking about Trossard, Martinelli, but same old Arsenal. We always seem to leave out the last part of the puzzle. Yeah, it has been like that. We right now have left out the left wing for quite a while. We left out striker before. Before that, under Wenger, it took us what, like 86, 7 years to sign a proper number six and everything. It's always like that. Every summer we went into the window saying we must sign a proper number six, and we didn't sign it until we signed Partey. Like that, arguably has been the best six since Vieira. Arguably, Alex Song and Vieira, and those two, and then it's been Partey. Like, we haven't had that. We had Coquelin there and all these players. Like, come on, man. Like, it's been like that. We always leave ourselves one or two players short in key areas, always. And it's like, oh, we're gonna do it next year. But by the time we have fixed that issue, another issue has already risen, and we have never completed a full squad. Trossard, more like a Mula type player, secondary striker behind the center forward or camp. He's too slow at the left wing, and he doesn't have speed to run the goal and tear down the middle and shoot. If only he had it. He has, but he uses a bit differently. But he definitely is not that in behind pace merchant that we maybe envision to have. Left wing should have been sorted out most liking position. No danger, no goal output or help from their attack. You'll see Liverpool and Chelsea buying wingers when they need them. Like, they're buying wingers just like at the flea market. If only Arsenal had sense to do the same. Rice fits the agenda more. He's kind of role model in personal life. He's English, a good puppet for the gaffer, and fits the narrative. Gabriel's a good leader, and even a better cheerleader. Don't mind any of them, but not Odegaard. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, like Odegaard and Saka are not the captains. It should be like Gabriel or Rice. He's good at inside forward. Yeah, in those terms, yeah. In those terms, yeah. Would love to see Martinelli get a consistent run. Let's just say 5 to 10 games, if it was possible, in a two-striker formation together with Gyökeres, for example. I would love to see that. Or two-striker formation with Trossard as the secondary striker. Would love to see that, but we are not going to see this. Because it feels like Gyökeres should have someone very techy on the ball, like a more technical player next to him, like Trossard. Like, similar like France used to play when Griezmann was kind of in his prime. They were playing 4-4-2. Pogba, Kante in the middle, and two attackers actually were Giroud and Griezmann. One was tall, one was physical, held up the play and everything. Other one was more technical, more dynamic, more agile, that could do something with the ball. And it feels like sometimes Arsenal should try and do something like that. Switch the system, switch the style, switch the formation, and try something new. But obviously, Arteta insists in playing this 4-3-3 with like 55 formation changes mid-game, which it feels like it's more confusing than helping at times, which is kind of weird. But hey, that's just my opinion from outside. I just put it that way. Anything new in the games? Nothing new in the games as of now. Nothing new in the games as of now in Europe. Oh, Roma has gotten a penalty. Roma has gotten a penalty, people. Roma has a penalty. Let's see where this leads us. What do you make of Gyökeres not really cheering for scoring? Does he know they were tap-ins and just unsatisfied, or he wants to look unsatisfied because of the record? It's both. It's both. I think he's not satisfied because he knows that he must be performing to a standard, and he is not doing that. And he needs the goals. It's both. He's unsatisfied, and he also looks in. It's both. He's dissatisfied with himself and overall. Second half just kicked off in most. Yeah. But Roma has a penalty, so hopefully they will score. I want to see that Roma Pilsen game be a very nuts one. Nelly still dribbles like he's dribbling school. He can't dribble and beat 2-3 defenders. That's his main problem. Yeah, he doesn't have the technical ability. Even though we have seen a few games where he has had his defender on toast. And not because of pace, but actually because of some skills and stuff like that. Which is kind of insane. Nelly's offside. That is a weird one for me, because Martinelli plays as a touchline winger pretty much, right? So he sees whole defensive line, and he still manages to be offside most of the time. He doesn't know how to track a run still, like how to make a run. That is definitely not it. Is Dybala taking the pen? Well, Roma scored, first of all, and it was Dybala. Yes, Dybala has made it 2-1 Roma. 2-1 Pils, 1-2 Roma. He scored the penalty. Yes, Paulo Dybala has scored the penalty. So it's 1-2 Roma. 1-2 Pilsen, as they say. A proper manager coach would have made Martinelli a better player. Well, Emery was doing that until Arteta came in, to be honest. But hey, I hold my hands up. No, I'm not going to get into that discussion today. But yeah, Emery was working wonders technically with him. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. People. You see that, right? Crystal Palace are losing. Sorry, Kev. Really sorry, Kev. Crystal Palace are losing 1-0 to a team from, well, Cyprus. No other way to put it. Let's just say it as it is. No other way to put it. Crystal Palace are losing to a team from Cyprus. Hey, in Conference League, by the way. But yeah, let's see how that goes for them. But it's actually kind of interesting because if I look at the Crystal Palace starting 11, right, it's pretty much what I would expect them to have the starting 11 against Arsenal, which is kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. Well, Palace losing. Yeah, exactly. Huh? Seems like the 3-3 wasn't coincidental with Crystal Palace Bournemouth. Yeah, maybe. There is that argument to be made that if Arteta wasn't the manager, some players would be better right now. And maybe less injuries as well. Let's just put it that way. And we wouldn't have signed a few players. And Porto have scored. Porto have scored. Nottingham Forest 1, Porto 1. Yep, Porto have made it 1-1, apparently. And Sean Dyche in the mud. Sean Dyche in the mud. It's 1-1. We'll see how that goes for them as well. But yeah, people, I think on that note, I'm going to end today's stream. I'm not feeling great. I'm not going to lie. I have caught something. Might be the autumn bug or something like that. Some, I don't know, the flu or some stuff like that. Need to take medicine and hit the bed because I need to somehow get better. Maybe fixtures catching up with Palace 3 matches in 7 days. Maybe there is a possibility of that 100%. To be honest, I trust Glasner to figure things out. He has won Europa League before. He should be winning Conference League as well. But yeah, people, I'm going to end today's stream. Smash the likes. Subscribe if you're new. See you all tomorrow. Will I do the preview tomorrow? Most likely, I will do the preview show tomorrow for Crystal Palace game. So don't miss that. Have a nice evening. Have a nice day tomorrow. And see you very, 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 very soon. Peace.